All right, welcome back to Historic Headstones of Norfolk. We are at Elmwood Cemetery today. We are going to be talking about Elizabeth Taylor. She is the wife of famous Walter Taylor, who was assistant to General Lee during the Civil War. But we're here to talk about his wife. If you want to hear about the husband, we'll be talking about him in the military tour during Memorial Day weekend, if it happens this year, because the virus is making it look like it won't happen, but we'll see. If not, we'll make a video for him as well. All right, so we're going to be talking about Elizabeth Taylor. Contrary to the well-known story that a courier from General Robert E. Lee was not the first person to notify Confederate President Jefferson Davis, though in Richmond, that had to be evacuated. Elizabeth Taylor, who was the first person to give President Davis a bad news. She was a daughter of the United States Navy Captain John Saunders and Miss Martha Saunders. Lived during the war with family of Lewis D. Crenshaw in Richmond. Because you got to remember, Norfolk fell at the beginning of the war. So most people fled to Richmond behind Confederate lines, where she worked in the Confederate Mint and the Confederate Medical Department. It was to the Crenshaw house that Colonel Taylor, whom she was engaged to, sent a special messenger either on Saturday night on April 1st, 1865, or early Sunday morning on April 2nd, to notify her that the Confederate couple had to be evacuated. Colonel Taylor had instructed his fiancée to go as soon as possible to St. Paul's Church and asked the pastor to be at the Crenshaw house Sunday night at midnight to perform the marriage ceremony. Before sending her, he had permission from General Lee to go to Richmond to give Miss Saunders protection of his name. Elizabeth went to the church just before the morning service was about to begin and met the pastor. While she was talking to him, President Davis was walking by as he arrived for the morning prayer. Overhearing the conversation, Davis asked for more details. And according to the story, it has been handed down in the Taylor family. Elizabeth told him that Richmond must be evacuated. President Davis, greatly disturbed by the news as he heard of his walking by to go to his pew up front, presidential pew, where he sat by himself. A few minutes later, after he heard about it, the courier for Robert Lee did show up. But before he did show up, President Davis sat in his pew quiet for 10 minutes just thinking. He wasn't talking to anybody, and he turned pale. So he was pretty panicked. And then when the messenger from Robert Lee showed up and walked down the aisle and whispered to Davis, who rose and left abruptly. That night after midnight, April 3rd, 1865, while evacuating Confederates lit the city on fire. It was not the Union troops, the Confederates that did. And the looters ran wild in the streets. But before they left, later that night, after midnight, April 3rd, 1865, her and her fiancé, Colonel Taylor, were married in the parlor of the Crenshaw house. High water brought on by the spring rains and the poor rail connections had almost prevented the groom from arriving in time for the ceremony. Afterward, Elizabeth fled to the Confederate lines for safety. 1 week after Appomattox, Colonel Taylor returned to pick up his bride, drove her to Norfolk in a buggy, where they both stayed until they passed away, and both are buried here at Elmwood Cemetery. We are going to be talking about the husband and the military tour if it happens this year. I highly doubt it. It is almost May now, and we are still under stay-home orders. And right now, I don't feel comfortable giving tours to crowds right now. It probably won't be until June. But if we don't do the military tour, we will make a video about him. All right, guys, enjoy your day, and I'll talk to you at the next episode. Have a good day. Bye.